I have a lot to tell you today. I mentioned, uh, I mentioned, Adrotica called, and I mentioned yesterday that they have their free evenings together, which, after she talked with me, is not quite true. They do have dinner together. The resort seems to be wholly owned by whatever firm or company or corporate. And I think they're part of a network of healthcare providers because there are a lot of rich people in the world who are able to have medical procedures done that are just not available to the rest of us. I think I mentioned cloning before, and there's, you know, it's known, you can find out about it. People being cloned, twins in China. But again, I mentioned that if you hear about these things on the news, there's that's just the tip of the iceberg about many other things medically that are going on. In Thailand, there's the guy that had his own cells, stem cells, replicated in a petri dish slurry until they had enough to load it into a 3D printer and printed his own bladder to be replaced from bladder cancer. So, with these huge sums of money to be made, naturally these people are richly endowed, and I think they own this resort up the coast of California because Al and Adrotica, they have dinner in the restaurant overlooking the Pacific Ocean and the sunset over the Pacific and candlelight lit dinner. They have their one glass of wine for dinner, vegan wine, of course, organic. And then she told me that last night they had a wild rice pilaf with mushrooms, the white mushrooms, portobello, shiitake, and morels. And then after dinner, retiring back to their apartment, also with a picture window overlooking the beach. And what they Adradike explained what they do in the evening is right. In the afternoons they're engaging in tantric practices, yoga practices, and and then I'll leave that to you to look up on the internet what tantric yoga practices are all about. Facing each other in a sexual embrace, and yeah, anyway, and then part of that is intertwining your arms and leaning back and, not engaging the lips or other parts of the body, but leaning back and engaging the glance of your partner. You'd be surprised, like if you have an opportunity with your partner to practice these things, look them up on the internet: Hatha yoga, tantric yoga, pranayama, breathing techniques. Uh, I used to teach a breath of fire and then drawing up the through the chakras with the Mula Bandha, and you ought to look that up on the internet. Mula Bandha, Bondha, Mula Bandha, pulling up the pelvic floor, which is like a Kegel move. Men can practice it too by pulling up the peritoneum and engaging the anal sphincter muscle, but basically pelvic floor exercises. And then the next lock is at the diaphragm, Uddiyana Bandha, and you pull the diaphragm up high and lock it. And these locks are like, it's explained on YouTube as well. They're like channels, and you begin to engage the energy, the whatever this energy is, like Hatha yoga starts an energy. Pranayama is believed that the energy that's out there you bring into your body, you pass it through the channels by the Mula Bandha at the base of the spine and bring it up to Uddiyana Bandha, engaging the diaphragm, which is one of the most important muscles in the body, and then and you in Jalahara Bandha, where you engage the neck and bring the neck up and bring that energy up through the spine into your the third eye point, the pituitary gland, and finally the crown chakra, the pineal gland. So you're bringing all that energy that you accumulate by taking it into your body or sharing it with a partner in tantric yoga, and then bringing it up, and then ending up by engaging your arms and leaning back and looking in each other's eyes. And at first you only start with a few, that's all you can tolerate. Just like when you get into zones of pure love, I mean, you got to give up all the hate or the negative feelings in your body to dwell for any length of time in an atmosphere of pure love. But anyway, I digress. So just try that. Lean back, engage your arms, and try for a few minutes, and then bring it up to 5 minutes, and eventually, like if you get up to 10 minutes, you're in there with the elites, being able to hold the gaze of a loved one, and that's a portal to their soul. And even though we started out dealing with Alzheimer's, that's long ago. Al recovered from any kind of memory loss, within the first few days of the rest. And I'm not the only one that's talking about restoring memory by invigorating the mind electronically or electrically or with nanobots. There are actually, uh, you know, the colleges have graduate projects, and there is, you can look this up too. There's a project where they induce electrical currents in the brain by putting magnets around the brain, and to restore the memory. So these again, these things are actually going on. You can look them up, find them out for yourself, and then if they're actually going on, who's to know what else is going on? Like what I'm trying to tell you about. Uh, okay, anyway. So in the evening, after dinner, Al and Erotica retire to their own apartment, and this time they sit back to back with their butts together. And then if you do this with your partner, and then you bring the small of your back tight, the idea is try to straighten up both of you and use the breath to gain height by taking a deep inhale, and then bring your spines together. So you're combining that energy through the chakras, and then you begin an exercise of going through the day, moment by moment. First, one partner recalling what they can about the day, how it started, and then the next partner adding to that, and then taking it to the next moment in the day. Because where we're headed with this is to reach a state where the two of you can be uh, telepathic, empathy. Okay, empathetic. You may or may not know that there's these so-called rumors about UFOs, and there was in Congress there was some testimony about but from, I mean, you could, this is real too. Go into the congressional investigation, and these three people, one of them, the pilot that saw the UFOs out off of San Diego come up from the sea and engage his airplane, he was there for the testimony. Another guy that testified was the one that goes down into Area 51, where 7 of these aircraft have been found and put down there for reverse engineering to find out what their power sources are. But he stated in the congressional hearing that the pilots, the remains, and this goes back to, I've seen pictures of one of the little 3-foot people talking to President Eisenhower, but wait, he wasn't talking. They don't have voice cords, they use telepathic. Well, they didn't have anybody accomplished, but they did have humans that are empathetic. There are people, there are people who are sufficiently. I don't know how you develop empathy, but it is a skill that. Anyway, so that person was brought in to this to talk to the alien. So there's there's a place where our mental capabilities can be accelerated to the point where you can reasonably engage in the practice of telepathy, starting with empathy, and pairing up as a couple where you're having the same experiences to be shared in an intimate, dynamic manner. And in the evenings, that's what they practice together, going through the day, moment by moment, such as stopping on the beach, picking up a shell, looking at the shell, and then each other trying to pick out as many details as they can about the shell. And by reflecting their memory back and forth, they're not only sharpening their memory, exercising the brain plasticity. There, I got it right. Brain plasticity. By exercising the brain like a muscle, it grows stronger. So the stronger you reflect with your partner about the day's memories, the stronger your brain can become, and the more complete and accurate your memory can become. So that's their evening practice, and that can go on, you know, until they're ready to retire. And what better way to retire than in each other's arms, wrapped in that embrace. You know, they, I love it where the females. Well, anyway, I've talked about it before. Where her head's cradled in your arms around her, she snuggled down close to your body with her leg thrown over your thigh, and you go to sleep that way and wake up the next morning. And then you begin your hatha yoga practice, getting up and then go to breakfast. What an excellent way to spend the 2 weeks. Well, by this time, Al's been in it over a week. I mean, he's going into a week and a half or more. And Adradika's, first impulse to become implanted like Al is she was seeing how much his senses were being elevated, like his sense of touch. If you can think about your sense of touch being elevated because of these implanted nanobots and their effect on the synapses in the neurons, and then somebody else has talked about everything's the sense of touch, even your sight. The visible range of electromagnetic energy, which is very narrow, comes into your eyes and strikes the cones and the rods in the back of the eye, the retina, and those signals from that touch of the cones and the rods, again, touch, sense back against the optic nerve and gets assembled in your brain to your world view. So you're not seeing reality through your eyes. You're seeing a reality that's assembled in your own brain from the signals coming back through your optic nerve. Same for your auditory nerve. You're not hearing sound so much as the pressure waves are coming onto your eardrum and being transferred into the auditory nerve where they get assembled into meaningful sounds like you're hearing my speech. But again, it's a matter of touch. And you can make that argument going for smell too. It's those olfactory glands that are sensitive to, I can't think of the name of the molecules that bring sense. But it's again touching, the molecules touching the olfactory nerves. I think I've got that right. And you can make that argument for taste. The taste buds get impacted by molecules in the food. And then, need I go on? Thanks for listening in today. I'll have more for you tomorrow. Bye-bye.